Yes, I have a question. The A-frame signs, a lot of these people that I've seen use these things use a felt pen to put menus on them or specific advertisements. Are we going to regulate that also? Or are we going to just use a little common sense and just say?
I would like you to believe that I'm going to use common sense. That's how I'm going to have to deal with them, because
Okay.
you are going to find some of these that are in a gray area. I can't give you a
Just
hard
don't
and fast
see,
rule.
I just don't see coming in for a design review on something like that.
Typically, we would not, council member, but it just depends. It's going to have to be pretty flagrantly bad, I guess, design-wise or quality-wise, for me to say, can you see if you can hire somebody that can do this professionally?
Okay, on Q on page 5, this pertains to the mobile signs. It says in here that, let's see, the third line down, the parking of any such vehicle on any street or on public or private property, or the movement of any such vehicle in or along any street for the sole primary purpose of displaying advertising or for the sole or primary purpose of being a mobile sign or mobile billboard is declared to be a public nuisance and a violation of this section. I attended the Planning Commission meeting, and I thought we were going to allow Mr. Short to be able to take this thing and put it on private property over at certain events or whatever. So how does that relate to what is in this code? Seems like it contradicts it.
I was there, obviously, in the discussion, and I realized the comments that were made by the Planning Commission. It was my understanding that as long as the event coordinator permitted the sign, that was Mr. Short's responsibility to work with them to place it in a position where it would comply with whatever that event coordinator's requirements are. What we were trying to do here is that if Mr. Short went to the farmer's market, that he did not park his vehicle with the sign on the street, even if he was a participant at the farmer's market.
But that's public property.
Because that's public property. As far as transporting it from wherever the sign is kept, stored, let's say his house, to the location where he's a participant in an event, that wasn't designed for the primary purpose of drawing attention. It was to go from point A to point B.
I'm not arguing that. I mean, once he takes it to a place where he's going to display it, it's still on private property. Right. So is that a contradiction, or are we just saying that he can't display it on his own private property? I mean, I don't see this. We're trying to distinguish between two different types of private property. Frankly, I don't really care if he displays it on land that he owns over at his State Farm office. But I mean, I understand that the Planning Commission had a problem with that, and they wanted it only to be like at the state fairgrounds or something, some other event like that, where there was, I guess, a rental of it would really be private property. So I'm just trying to understand how we differentiate between him putting it on his own property and taking it to an event where it's still private property.
Well, I know that the ordinance is designed to prohibit him from displaying it on his business location where he is today. It's designed, obviously, not to allow him to display it in a residential zone, but that already exists today. Those types of signs are not permitted under any circumstance in residential because there's a size limitation. The way I read the ordinance is that, again, what's the primary purpose of why the sign is there? If it's to be used as a form of advertising, to be visible from a public street, then I would say that's a violation. If it's at an event where he just happens to be close enough to the street where it's visible, but he's not going out of his way so that it is, I would say it wouldn't apply. Well, and it's going to be an interpretation thing.
Okay, well then I guess I'm going to have to ask the council if we should put some language in here that relates to community events as being exempt from the private property rule, and I think that would cover both what you want to do and getting the job done, and also allow Mr. Short to be able to use the sign that he paid for.
Why don't we hold that question until we get some public comment, and then we'll come back to that and discuss that based upon public comment. Any other questions relative
Yeah,
to?
yeah, I have one. The pizza parlors that have the signs that are visible and sometimes even lit up, are those illegal now, according to this?
Give me an example, not necessarily a.
Well, you have a sign on top of a car that roams around that says the pizza parlor's
Those are
name.
exempt, because
They're
it's not, its primary purpose is to deliver the pizza, just as the bus is to transport people.
Okay, so it falls under that category?
Yes, sir.
Taxis, et cetera.
That's no different than a real estate agent or even an insurance agent putting a magnetic sign on the side of their
Correct.
car.
Correct.
Those are exempt as well.
exempt.
Correct. Those would be exempt.
Okay. Any other questions of Mr. Daswell?
I just might clarify that if, for example, the same pizza car with the same sign on it is simply sent to drive around the city without delivering anything, then the primary purpose for driving around the city is to
Advertising.
display advertising.
Okay.
That is forbidden.
I got you.
But if all you're doing is delivering pizza in a car that says the name of your pizza place on it, that's no different than Safeway driving a semi up to Safeway and the semi says Safeway on it.
Or in the case of Safeway, when they do a home delivery of food that people order
Correct.
online,
Correct.
it is one of their vehicles.
Their
that
van
says
says Safeway on it.
Right. Okay, any other questions? All right, I'll open